Yo! Welcome to the show, BroMob. We're your hosts, Chad and Brian. Today is Tuesday, December 10th, and as always, we've got a jam-packed show waiting, ready for you this week. Guys, it's week 2 in the playoffs. I'm coming off of 2 buys in 2 different leagues. I'm ready to start dominating. Brian, you got some dominating in this past week. I saw that because you're coming in hot, trying to take me away. That ain't happening.
Yup. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, I won in every league this week. That's how good I was, Chad. I mean, I don't know if a bye constitutes as a win, but I'm gonna count it because I feel like I won that bye. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it was a clean sweep this week, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. To be honest with you, I'm in the conference championship game in every league except for Dynasty. Not doing too hot there. And by not doing too hot, I mean I am out of it. So, but no, it's all right. You know, it's been a good year. Very thankful, blessed by the fantasy gods. Thank you very much. I love you all 12 fantasy gods. Love them. Okay, and that's all I got to say about that, Chad. Just it feels good to be in line to go to the big game in so many different ways, especially in League of Record.
Yeah, it's all very fun. Playoffs is the greatest time of the year, especially whenever you're coming across times where so many injuries that happened this past week. I mean, geez, it just throws everything for a loop.
Yeah, a lot of injuries this week, especially, here's the thing. Like, I feel like when you have a bye, it should be impossible for you to have an injury on your team, right? Because you're not playing. Like, but then you realize, oh wait, this is not real life. This is fantasy football, and people are still playing even though I'm not counting it. So I had Mike Evans go down, that hurt, and Jameis Winston, that hurt, but he came back. But who knows? We'll see what happens. Not looking too hot for Mike Evans rest of the season. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But Jameis Winston maybe 50-50, and then That's I think that was it for me.
All right.
Was that it?
It could be. Might not be. Who knows?
No. Tis a question of life. Was it to be or not to be?
All right, BroMob, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to get right into it. We got Week 14 fantasy recap, our genius picks, our dumb picks, our waiver review, and of course, all of those playoff targets that you should be looking at in the playoffs. So first, before we get into it, be sure to follow along after the show by following us on Twitter and Instagram at FF Bros Podcast. Let's get into the show. Fantasy Weekly Recap. All right, well, Brian, I don't know about you, but I thought this was a pretty boring week in football. There were some bad matchups. Maybe I was just upset because it started off with the Cowboys losing to the Bears on Thursday Night Football, where surprisingly the Bears have now won 4 of the last 5 games. And there were actually really big fantasy performances from Allen Robinson, who I was not expecting. Mitch Trubisky putting together a 30-plus point fantasy day against the Cowboys defense, which has actually been pretty stringent against quarterbacks this year. It was a confusing and angering game. From the Cowboys side, we had Amari Cooper, who went off as well, 6 catches on 8 targets for 83 yards and a touchdown, and Zeke rushing in for 2 touchdowns against the Bears defense. It was a weird game.
Yeah, Chad, so my question here is, did the Cowboys only play on Thursdays now? Like, is
this has happened back-to-back years, where they do the Thanksgiving game, and then the next week after that, they play on Thursday as well, which the Bears, coincidentally, had the same thing happen.
Yeah, I feel like it's been like 3 weeks in a row. Didn't they play the Thursday before Thanksgiving too?
No.
Are you sure?
Positive.
I'm going to have to confirm this. But anyway, it feels like they played the last 3 weeks in a row on a Thursday. But Cowboys, super disappointing. I don't know what's going on with the team. They just don't look right. Something's just not right. Dak Prescott did not look right and, injured the hand. Not they say he's going to be okay. Nothing to worry about there. But yeah, not what you want to see from the Cowboys, who had the number 1 offense for most of the season this year. They just don't look good. And so, Chad, are you concerned if you're a Dak Prescott owner or you're a Zeke Elliott owner or even a Amari Cooper owner, are you concerned here rolling into the conference ship games?
Oh no, I mean for those players, absolutely not. They have a pretty nice schedule going. Dak Prescott, Zeke, and Amari Cooper. I'm pretty happy with all of them. I'm just not happy about the Cowboys in general. I don't like that defense. We're gonna lose possibly another game, and I'm not gonna be happy.
Well, what about this Rams game coming up? So the Cowboys play the Rams this coming week, and I don't want to jump the gun here, but I feel like that's another game where look what they just did to the Seahawks.
It's weird.
So if you're rolling with one of these guys, like how you feeling this week? I mean, I don't know. I think Zeke's gonna do well. I have a feeling because I feel like the Cowboys are gonna want to feature Zeke. He just got paid. You got Gurley on the other side. There's a showmanship type game going there. But I don't know, man. This game could go really one of two ways. I don't see it being a standard scoring. I think it's going to be a really low score or an extremely high score. Like I see an all-out shootout, like kind of like we just saw with the Saints game where it was like 45-48 final score. Or I think you're going to see like a 10-6 final score. Like it's one of the two, but you're not going to see like 23-30 something. I just don't see it.
I guess we'll see. I'm hesitant to think anything good about the Cowboys right now. I'm just really angry. So I'm going to move on because I'm getting angry talking about them. We got Panthers-Falcons game, Brian, where Falcons fans and Julio Jones owners from fantasy football standpoint can't be happy with what they're getting here. 0 receiving touchdowns in the last 9 games, Brian. That's 9 straight games Julio Jones has gone without a touchdown. That is the longest drought of his career. Wow. However, in those same games, he's got more than 7 targets in every game this season. So it's not like he's not getting targeted. He's getting used in the game. It's just not in the red zone, which is what you get with Julio Jones. It's weird. The guy's huge, an absolute monster, and he can win one-on-one matchups. It's so confusing to me that he doesn't get used more in the red zone. You know who does get used in the red zone and pretty much everywhere in the field? CMC. He's got 7 consecutive games of over 100 yards from scrimmage. That is the longest streak in the NFL right now. Then the Panthers defense just continues to let running backs run all over him, Brian. Devonta Freeman ran all over him in this game. They actually allowed Brian Hill to have a touchdown against them. They have 24 rushing touchdowns against them this season. That is the most in the NFL. We've mentioned it before. If there's a running back going against the Panthers, you need to start them, no matter who they are. Brian Hill had a touchdown. Devonta Freeman, he's had 20-plus touches in 3 of the last 4 games played, so he's starting to get used pretty prominently in this offense finally, and it's things are looking up for him. It's kind of interesting to see him kind of stroll into the fantasy playoffs and see what's going on with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on, Chad, we had the Ravens-Bills game. This was a great game, like an absolutely great game. Ravens came out on top, but the Ravens have allowed less than 25 points to opposing teams for 9 consecutive games now in a row. That's unbelievable to me. So that Ravens defense really doing a good job of keeping opposing offenses in check. Ravens tight ends have 11 receiving touchdowns on the season. So just a quick stat there. Lamar Jackson had another good game. Threw his first pick, though, in over 181 passing attempts in this game. So, the Bills defense is no joke. I think we said this was probably going to be a lower scoring game. This is 2 really good defenses coming to play here, especially the Bills at home. They don't want to be embarrassed. And they nearly had a good the game wrapped up here. But Ravens pulled it ahead. Browns, Bengals, or rather Browns. Big game from Joe Mixon. He had 23 carries for 146 yards, a touchdown, added 3 catches and 40 yards through the air. I think the team keeps leaning on him, Chad. And as the season moves forward here, that is big news for Joe Mixon owners. So if you're a Joe Mixon owner and you're still rocking and rolling here in the playoffs, things look pretty bright for Mixon moving ahead. On the other side of the ball, Chad, Kareem Hunt had another touchdown in this game. It looks like he's becoming more and more involved in this offense, becoming an integral. Did I say that right? Did I say that sounds weird? Integral. Seagull integral. He's becoming an integral goal line piece in this team. So I really like. Look, Kareem Hunt. A lot of people were talking about, hey, How's that going to affect Chubb? It seems like they're getting them both heavily involved.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Chubb's getting all those carries, right? But it's looking more and more like Kareem Hunt's getting used in the red zone and passing situations and even rushing situations, and Nick Chubb's getting kind of weaned out of that for some reason. But yeah, it's interesting to see. Let's move into the Redskins-Packers, Brian, where I really didn't have much notes to take in this game because the Redskins put up a fight. They really did. The Packers didn't have much offense other than Aaron Jones in this game, which, by the way, he went off. And then the Redskins also kind of, their offense did better than the Packers, it seemed like. So Scary Terry had a good game in this. He had more than 50 yards receiving. He had a touchdown. And he's actually got more than 50 yards receiving in 8 games this season. And he's got 6 receiving touchdowns. He's actually tied with this little name drop, tight end Chris Cooley for the second most touchdowns in Redskins history for rookies. Chris Cooley, ladies and gentlemen.
I remember him. Ooh. I remember when Coolies were
the big news here. The big news here, Darius Geis, once again just hurt the knee. It's not sounding good from everything that we're hearing. It's too bad for him because he looked explosive. I think he had like 5 carries for 40 yards when he started to get taken, was taking off, right? And then all of a sudden his knee took off, and he took off of the game. So Adrian Peterson took on. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. Adrian Peterson came in, rushed it up, got some yardage, and actually moved up in the all-time yardage situation. So,
well, I'll tell you what. There's a lot of people taking stuff right there. Okay?
There's a lot of taking.
Let me tell you something, man. Okay.
Liam Neeson was angry.
I'm doing my best John Gruden impression there.
Terrible. All right, and then the next game, surprising game, Brian. The Broncos beating the Texans. Drew Lock looking good in it. 22 for 27. That's right, 5 incompletions for 309 yards and 3 touchdowns. He did throw a pick in this game, but there was only 5 incompletions. It was incredible. Philip Lindsay had himself a good outing against the Texans, but really just the big news is just Drew Lock looking good, comfortable in this offense. Noah Fant going off, 4 catches for 113 yards and a touchdown. Cortland Sutton continuing to get targeted. He didn't have a huge game in this one, but he got plenty of targets, was still heavily involved in the offense. Deshaun Watson struggled in the passing game, but of course, because he's Deshaun Watson, he finds ways to make points anyway. He excelled in the rushing game, had 2 rushing touchdowns in this game, and it doesn't matter with him. He's I wouldn't say he's like Lamar Jackson, but he's pretty good.
Yeah, let me tell you something, Chad. I love Drew Lock. I loved him before this season. I've been following him as in his college career for the last 2 years. I love the kid. I like him so much, Chad. I've got a nickname for him. Okay, you know how I am with nicknames. I'm a mastermind at this stuff. Okay,
sometimes
Drew Lock. Ready for this? Drew Lock is going to be referred to as the architect. Okay, because he drew it and he locked it in and he loaded it.
Why is he loading it? What's he loading?
Because when you lock it in, you got to load it. Lock and load. Right? He drew it, he locked it, and loaded it.
That's not what architects do.
Cacao.
They don't lock and load nothing.
Yeah, he cacaoed it. Cacao. He's the architect.
Cacao on to the next game here.
The architect is my boy, all right? So Lions, Vikings, Chad. The one, the only, the smooth route running Kenny G had himself a tutty. All right. So he got into the end zone, had a good game. Stephen Diggs on the other side of the ball also had a good game. No tutty, almost had a tutty though.
Yeah.
He did catch one and he got pushed out. I think it was inside the 5. So he almost took one to the house there. Dalvin Cook, looked a little hampered to be honest with you, but still performed pretty well. So this was a game that, kind of came down. I think it was what we expected. Lions are out of contention now at this point. So Vikings win that game. 49ers Saints. This was, I don't know if it was the best game of the week, but it was.
Oh, I think it was.
It was an offensive assault, and it was really just last man with the ball wins. This is what it turned out to be. So Alvin Kamara was exactly who I said he was this week, and we'll talk about this in a little bit. 0 touchdowns, 8 straight games. Not looking good for Kamara owners. Chad, is he benchable at this point? Do you dare bench for the rest of the season, Alvin Kamara?
I mean, I would have benched him this past week. That was my recommendation, was to sit him.
I mean, if you're a Kamara owner and you didn't have a bye, you probably just got bounced out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely hurt you because what did he get, like 3.4 points or something like that?
I don't know. We'll talk about it in a bit.
That's not going to cut it.
No.
4.3, that's what it was. I had it backwards. Dyslexia. I mean, it's not going to cut it in fantasy football for you to get that. He's not just a start it and forget it guy anymore. At least not this season. He is not that person. Something is clearly up with him. Ever since he got that injury and he came back and they were giving more carries to Latavius Murray, there's kind of a reason. It's just something's not right. Something ain't working there.
Well, yeah, and Murray's just more efficient. I mean, he had 7 carries for nearly 70 yards, and then he had, I think Murray had 2 catches for 25 through the air. Kamara had 4 catches for 18, and then he had 13 carries for 25 yards. He's just not efficient. And I would be surprised if when the season's over, it comes out that Alvin Kamara has been banged up all year. And there's something hobbling because it's just not working. And for him to be as talented as he is and then have Latavius Murray outshining him, it just says a lot. So we look at the other side of the ball, or not the other side of the ball, but the other part of the game. So the aerial. So Michael Thomas is a beast. He's a freak.
Oh, yeah.
10 catches in 7 straight games this season, or 7 total games this season. He's had 10 or more catches. 6 of those games, he's had over 100 yards receiving. Had another beastly game in this week, Chetty. 11 catches for 134 yards and a tutty. Just a straight monster, right?
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
The surprise this week, which really for me wasn't a surprise. So first of all, I called the Tevin Coleman stuff, right? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But what I didn't expect was Raheem Mostert to absolutely go berserko. Okay, so Mostert comes out off of an injury, comes back, he's healthy, 10 carries, 70 yards, a touchdown in this game on the ground. And I believe he had a touchdown through the air, didn't he?
Yep,
40 yards receiving and a touchdown, I believe. So just had a beast game, 2 touchdowns. Jimmy G had a huge game, showed that he could play with the best of them in Drew Brees. So this was a great game. Emmanuel Sanders had a huge game. Kittle had a good game. I mean, it was just a lot of fantasy points came from this game. Anytime you score, the final score is like 48-46. I mean, you're talking nearly 100 points scored in this game. You're going to have a lot of fantasy points come out of it. So that was fun.
Yeah, this was like that Rams-Chiefs game from last season where it was just going off left and right. It was fun to watch from a fantasy perspective. Let's get into that Dolphins-Jets game, Brian.
Yeah.
Much more exciting, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Jason Sanders, 7 field goals. I mean, it says a lot that your best player is your field goal kicker, right? Because, I mean, just last week, he caught a touchdown from the punter. I mean, this is their star player, Brian. Jason Sanders catches touchdowns, kicks 7 field goals, wins games, but not this one because they lost. I mean, it was incredible. You know what? I said this last week, and you said, nah, there's no way. Patrick Laird. It's the Patrick Laird show, ladies and gentlemen. Also indicative of what this game was, and that's terrible. Jason Sanders, 7 field goals. Patrick Laird, 15 carries, 19 total touches. What? Who?
Laird.
Patrick Laird?
Laird of the Totes. It's like play on Lord of the Rings. Laird of the Totes. He gets all of them.
Laird.
Oh, man. Yeah, Patrick Laird was an absolute beast. I think it was almost 90 all-purpose yards in this game. Mm-hmm. Did he get in the end zone, though? I don't believe he did, Chad, because as you said before...
7 field goals, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Who did make it in the end zone? Robbie Anderson, who has back-to-back games of 10-plus targets and 3 receiving touchdowns in the last 4 games. He's going off. He's going off, everybody. We called this. End of season, This is what he does. He just goes nutty all the time. He's faster than everybody right now, so go out and get him if you can. We got the Colts-Bucks game next, which we mentioned before. There were some injuries. Mike Evans and Jameis Winston both going down with injury. Luckily, Evans was able to catch 1 ball for a 60-plus yard touchdown, so he didn't ruin your day, but he definitely ruined your dreams because he's going to be hurting fantasy owners in the playoffs. It's not going to feel good.
ruin your life.
Ooh.
All right.
I want to talk about Jameis Winston first, Brian. I want you to read my notes because lots about to be said. This he's not good, but man, is he good in fantasy. I don't get it. He's had 300 yards passing in 9 games this season, but he also leads the league in giveaways with 28 total giveaways, Brian.
Well, so
this is week 14. We still have games left.
So here's the thing. Look, this is what people don't understand. I saw this tweet the other day, and it was this guy taking a victory lap when Winston went out to injury. And he, actually, it wasn't reported at first that he went out to injury. It was reported that he was benched. So that was what Ian Rappaport.
Yeah, some other guy.
So Ian Rappaport had it on Twitter that that Ryan Griffin has replaced him, which makes it sound like he's been benched. What really happened was Winston injured his hand. They took him in the back. He had X-rays. They showed a hairline fracture, and he ended up was having pain and having trouble gripping the ball, and then comes back because the feeling came back in his hand. His hand went numb. So he comes back and goes berserko. This is an example. What people don't understand is you don't have to be really good in real football to be good in fantasy football, right, Chad? This is what a lot of people, especially if you haven't played a lot of fantasy football or you just haven't bought into the analytics piece of it, is it doesn't matter. You could be extremely bad, like Jameis Winston, lose games, but still help people win championships. I won a championship with Jameis Winston on my team, and I have him on my team right now, and I'm about to win another championship with him. So if he plays. So, I mean, look, Winston has a great schedule. He had 456 yards, 4 touchdowns in this game. He had 3 interceptions, 6 carries for 5 yards, and another touchdown on the ground. He had 5 all-purpose touchdowns. He reached maximum Winston, in this game.
Pure Tampa Bay Jameis Winston's going off. It's
for now on, we will use Jameis Winston stat line will be the bar that we measure all other quarterbacks on.
Yes.
For fantasy. Okay. So, but yeah, Chad, I'm with you. Look, you can't be afraid of guys like this, BroMob, because these are the guys that win you championships because no one else wants to grab a Jameis Winston in the draft or off the waivers and play him in a very big game because they don't have name value, but they do put up points like nobody's business.
I'm over here dying, man. I have to keep going on mute, coughing up my lungs. I don't know what's going on.
Bad.
Terribly sorry. But yes, I agree.
Pops. I got the black lung pops.
Yes, that's me. On the other side of the ball, we got Marlon Mack, who was only the 4th running back. Welcome back, Marlon Mack. By the way, welcome back, Marlon Mack. Love it. I'm writing that down instantly. But he's back. He's only the 4th running back with a touchdown against Tampa Bay this season.
Welcome back, Marlon Mack. Welcome back.
You ruined it.
It's that song.
Hated it. Everything about it. Hated it, but I loved it at the same time.
Come on. Don't do it. Don't hate on my dude.
Zach Pascal, which you've been on that train very hard. You like him. 5 catches on 9 targets for 74 yards and a touchdown. Good game.
That's my boy, dude. I told you, BroMob. Go get this guy, and don't just go get him, but what I tell you last week, get him in your lineup. That's what I told you. Did you do it? No, probably not, because you don't listen to what I tell you. But guess what? I'm trying to get you a championship. All right? So get on my level, get Zach Pascal on your team, and get him in your lineup. It's not going to end, Chad. It's not going to end. Zach Pascal's good. It's going to keep going, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right. Sorry, man. I got a little hot. All right. Chargers, Jags. Let's do this. Let's wrap it up. Chargers, Jags. Austin Eckler went off, Chad. Hit over 100 yards rushing, 4 catches, over 100 yards, I don't know, through the air. Probably had 100 passing yards too. Probably also kicked a 100-yard field goal in this game as well. It was unbelievable. Everything Eckler did was turn to magic. He's a giant fairy magic dust maker. All right. And then Mike Williams.
Dust maker.
Yep. Mike Williams also absolutely went off, had a long touchdown in this game. Hunter Henry is what I said he was. This was my, I got to tell you, man, I got these guys, okay? And I create these guys on my teams, and they turn to magic, Chad. It's not because I have magic touch. It's just because I see it. And Hunter Henry, I saw it this year. and he has done what I thought he would do. He just got injured. That's the only problem. I didn't see that part. Okay, I'm blind to injuries. Can't handle it, BroMob. But I tell you right now, I see talent. I see opportunities, and that was Hunter Henry, and his playoff matchups are mint. So I love me some Hunter Henry rest of the season. And on the other side of the ball, Chad, Jaguars. Look, I love me some Minshew as much as everybody else, but the Minshew was missing in this game, and there wasn't much Minshew to go around.
This was the Min Pew. He was not very good smelling.
The Min Pew 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 Pew.
No, not laser beams. Min Pew, as in Pew Pew. He stinks.
Oh yeah. Oh, Pepe Le Pew. Pepe Le Minshew Pew. Got it.
Pepe Le Minshew.
Poo poo. All right, Steelers Cardinals, Chad. This game was right here in my good old hometown of Arizona. David Johnson, welcome back to the NFL. You had a touchdown in this game. What? So I didn't even know they were still playing him. Kyler Murray had himself a game, threw 3 balls that went to the other team. Those are called interceptions, and that's not good. So
nope.
It was a really boring game. The Steelers just dominated the Cardinals, I thought, with a offensive team that has the 4th string quarterback throwing the ball, Chad.
Yeah, it was like the Steelers would stop them, would get those interceptions, and then they just wouldn't move the ball at all either. It was just it was, like you said, this was just a boring game. I did not enjoy it at all. This game, though, I did enjoy. Chiefs-Patriots. Tom Brady was struggling in this game. He was 0 for 8 when he was under pressure, and he just seemed to just not have his normal it factor in the game. I get it. He's having some really bad efforts from his receivers, not named Julian Edelman right now. He's got receivers that are running routes in different directions than what he's used to. He throws it somewhere. It's completely out of the range of a receiver. That's because they took a right turn when they were supposed to take a left. You can see he's getting visibly frustrated with them. Telling them, you got to be over here. This is the route that you're supposed to run, yada, yada, yada. If you see me out of the pocket, you're supposed to move over here. He's used to having a lot more intelligence at the receiver position, and there's just so much young talent on the team that they're not there yet.
Doesn't it feel like I just scratch my head? Why did they get rid of Josh Gordon? I don't understand that move. Like it just
makes no sense.
You look at Josh Gordon right now is so badly needed on this team that it's mind numbing. Like, why would you waive a guy? I think the Patriots really thought, I don't know what was going on, but there's something happened for them to just waive him. So it blows my mind because I look at Tom Brady's wide receivers and I think they could literally strap like Velcro to the ball and then put a dog in the slot and Velcro vest and just say run, and that would be a better option at wide receiver.
Airbud,
straight Airbud. It's just terrible. He's got no help, none, and they're still look. I hate to tell you, Patriots should have won this game. They should have. I know it's not gonna, and this is not gonna go over well. This is gonna taste really bad, but I don't care. The Patriots did win that game. They got gypped. Okay, they scored 7. They scored 1 touchdown in a game that they scored 3 actually, because I got news for you. They scored 3 touchdowns and they got them taken away. Okay, there was a fumble that should have went back for a touchdown that got called dead, and N'Keal Harry got in, dude. I mean, he was in. Why don't the refs just call a touchdown no matter what? If the ball hits, if the ball is close to the pylon, no matter what happens, if it's close, call the touchdown, because it's going to get reviewed anyway. I just don't understand it. Like, it's just like I've never understood that part. I guess it is what it is, but that should have been a touchdown. That was I don't know what the ref was looking at. I think his pinky touched the white line. They call a touchdown. Well, let's find out. Like, I don't understand it. So anyway, that's my rant.
There's that, and then like the refs just don't have any accountability, it seems, anymore. They call what they call, and they stand by everybody else's bad calls. It's ridiculous.
I look at it this way. Look, I get it. The refs are humans, and I understand. Like, they're gonna make errors, but there needs to be an eye in the sky, like reviewer that can whistle down and say, no, you guys got that wrong, like blatantly wrong. Go fix it at any point in the game. Don't you think? Like stuff like that.
I mean, it doesn't exist anywhere else, so that would be a first. It's not in the NBA. It's not in baseball. It's kind of all the same. You get these challenges, and then they got to go to New York, and New York overlooks it, so they don't ever. It's never just initiated, right? So I don't know. Be interesting. But the Chiefs didn't do much in this game, that's for sure. Mecole Hardman had a huge touchdown, but outside of that, the receivers struggled. Travis Kelce had a rushing touchdown in this game. What? But, I mean, on the Patriots side of the ball, like I said before, Julian Edelman, every receiver not named him had struggles, but, I mean, Julian Edelman he's almost matchup proof going forward. I mean, he just gets so many targets every game. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get to this Titans-Raiders game. Brian, yet another great game from Ryan Tannehill, who continues to string together great games for the Titans. He had 27.5 fantasy points in this game. Listen to this. He's had 2 passing touchdowns and 125 or better passer rating in 4 consecutive games. The only other quarterback to ever do that, Russell Wilson. He's in some pretty good company right now. He's doing very good for this team. Not the other side of the ball. We keep saying the other side of the ball. The rushing attack for the Titans also just absolutely exploding right now. 4 games in a row with over 100 yards rushing for Derrick Henry. And in fantasy perspective, he's just going absolutely off. He's going bonkers. He's had more than 20 points in all 4 of those games. It's just ridiculous. A.J. Brown, 6 receiving touchdowns this season. That's the most for a rookie in Titans history. And then on the other side of this time, for real on the other side of the ball, the only thing that's really worth talking about for the Raiders, Darren Waller, 70 plus receptions this season. He's kind of going off for the tight end position.
Did you know, Chad, that Ryan Tannehill is 6-1 as a starter for the Titans?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. He's having a heck of a year with the Titans. Maybe he just needed a new home where that actually had talent and the coaching staff was actually good.
It wasn't the Dolphins.
Isn't that surprising that it wasn't that it wasn't the Dolphins? Unbelievable. Yeah, Chad. Let's move on. So Seahawks Rams. This was our Sunday night football game, and let me tell you, a lot of people got bounced out of the playoffs on this game.
Yep.
So Seahawks were held without a rushing touchdown for the first time since week 1 of 2017. Yeah, that's right. Wow. 2017, Chad. So this was Russell Wilson just looked, he looked under duress most of the night. Rams defense looks, I don't want to play them. If you're opposing team right now, do you want to play the Rams? I don't want to play the Rams. Cowboys play the Rams this week. I'm not looking forward to that at all. So I'm going to be honest with you. So Tyler Higbee has had back-to-back games now of 100 yards receiving. He looks pretty sharp. Robert Woods finally found the end zone. Cooper Kupp had a good game. I mean, it was all Rams all night. Tyler Lockett, are you there? If you're there, speak to me. I need you, okay? Mike Evans is hurt, and I need you. So, I mean, what the heck? I told you this week, but like, what the heck do you do about Tyler Lockett right now?
What do you do about the Seahawks right now? The offense just doesn't look good in general.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf is still getting some receiving yards, but he's not like going off or anything. Josh Gordon's doing nothing. Jacob Hollister's having very mediocre games. I mean, the Seahawks offense is just kind of stalling right now.
Yeah, Chad, I'm with you. I mean, look, Lockett had 6 targets in this game. It's not like he's not getting looked at. He just doesn't have the production. So I don't know. And then I know we don't have this game listed here, Chad, because it's happening as we're recording right now. But I want to talk a little bit about this Eagles-Giants game that's going on right now. So it's currently in the third quarter. There's about 3 minutes left. Carson Wentz is, I think the ball is like inside the 30 right now. It's 2nd and 10. It's raining. The grass is green. I'm just giving you as much detail as possible. Okay. I'm watching this team. The Giants are up 17-3. So that's the first thing. Carson Wentz has 130 passing yards, but he just doesn't look good. Like, he just doesn't look solid. Miles Sanders having a good game. Like, as we move forward, Chad, I guess where I'm going with this is this. As we move forward, how can you possibly be comfortable with any Eagles players moving forward?
I mean, you can't really. I mean, this offense is just sputtering. Very similar to the Seahawks, but worse. I mean, they're not having a good time. And people who have these players are not having good times because of it. Alshon Jeffrey seems to get injured every other game.
Yep.
And when he comes back, he plays good. And then when he leaves, I mean, he leaves in the middle of a game after you've started him. So it's killing your teams.
Well, and that's the thing is he's injured again. So
Yep.
so Alshon Jeffrey is out right now. They carted him off the field. It was a non-contact injury, not looking good. Mm-hmm. So if you're an Alshon Jeffrey owner, it's not looking favorable for you. So I don't know. I mean, like, this is a game that I'm gonna tell you right now, and I mean this when I say it. And this is coming from a guy that's an owner. I have stock in Miles Sanders. Okay. So, and as I say this, Miles, they're inside the 5. They just scored a touchdown. Boston Scott, running back.
I don't understand it.
This is what I'm talking about. So from a fan, I will never start a Philadelphia Eagle unless his name is Zach Ertz or Dallas Goedert. I will never start anyone. I just don't trust the coaching staff. I don't trust the team. You're inside the 5-yard line on first down, and you run the ball with Boston Scott. Who is Boston Scott, Chad?
He's Boston Scott.
I mean, you've got Miles Sanders. I just want to rant a little bit about this. Like, it drives me crazy. On the other side of the ball, Chad, we've got Eli Manning, who's thrown for 179 yards and 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley has 15 carries for 60 yards. I mean, so this is a game. Darius Slayton, Chad, has 154 of Eli Manning's 179 passing yards and both of his touchdowns. So, I mean, I'm not feeling too hot about Eli Manning's having a game, but I mean, next week he gets the Miami Dolphins, Chad. What do you think about that?
I mean, if Eli Manning starts, I really like it, right? I mean, I also like how much the commentators love to say the Book of Eli now that he's back. I don't know if you've heard him say it, but they've said it at least 7 times in this game. All spoken by Booger McFarland.
I hate Booger so bad.
He's very proud of it. But I mean, Eli Manning kind of going off here, and a favorable matchup going forward in both games if he plays both of the games. But I mean, it's interesting. I'll leave it at that.
I might start Eli Manning next week.
Very interesting. Let's get into our genius picks because we got a lot of show to still go.
Genius, genius, genius!
All right, BroMob, I had some good picks this week. I said sit Kyler Murray against Pittsburgh, and he did not do good. 10 fantasy points. I also said to sit Alvin Kamara confidently, not a bust. I said to get this guy on your bench. 4.3 fantasy points. I hope you didn't start a BroMob because it might have lost you a game. I also called Robbie Anderson a sleeper against Miami, who had 21.5 fantasy points. I said to stream Ryan Tannehill, and before I've already said it, 27.5 points from him. And I also said to start Melvin Gordon against Jacksonville because that defense is terrible against the run. 16.9 points. Not quite what Eckler did, but still really good.
Yeah, Chad, not a bad week. I also had a pretty good week. So I'll start off with some sits. So I said to sit Josh Allen this week against that Baltimore Ravens defense. No way I'm playing him. Exactly what I said. As a matter of fact, Chad, I think I said that his point output here was almost exactly his floor at 10.7. So we were pretty damn close there. I also said sit Tevin Coleman against this New Orleans defense. And, 0.6 points doesn't just tell the story. He just wasn't involved. Mm-hmm. It was all Raheem Mostert. And so had Tevin Coleman gotten involved, he may have actually had a game, but he didn't. And hopefully you listen to me. I said sit him. This was my start, Chad. This was my guy. All right. He is my dude rest of the season. And that's Zach Pascal. That's right. Wide receiver, Indianapolis Colts. Told you to get him in your lineup. Hopefully you listened. 17.9 fantasy points on the week. And then I also said sit Tyler Lockett, 6.3 fantasy points. I don't know, Chad. Tyler Lockett, if you're out there listening, I know you're an avid fan of the show. I need you. I need you to need me. And I need me to need you to need me. Okay? Alvin Kamara, I call the bust. Chad, you said sit. I said not only is he a sit, he's a bust. And 4.3 points. Definitely confirm that. And then my rock solid, gold plated, diamond crested, Arnold screaming at the top of his lungs stream of the week, Chad, was Jacoby Brissett. And he did not disappoint. 22.6 fantasy points, Chad. What do you think about that?
I think that's nice. You did a good job.
In your face.
Nope. Didn't play against you with him, so not in my face.
In your face.
Let's get into our not so smart picks.
You blew it!
All right, I'll start it off here by saying sorry, BroMob, for telling you to sit Amari Cooper, but also at the same time, he didn't do anything until the garbage time points started to come in play. So 17.3 fantasy points. There's still points at the end of the day, so it doesn't matter. My bad. I also said to start Devontae Parker, who this one's weird. He's had 10 targets for 3 games in a row, and then out of nowhere, he has 2 targets. What?
It was
Patrick
bad.
Laird was targeted more in the passing game than Devontae Parker. What? My bad. 3.8 fantasy points. And then finally I said that Allen Robinson was a bust coming into this game, and he instantly scored a touchdown on his first catch of the game, and then on the second drive of the game, decides he wants to score another touchdown. Other than that, he only had 40 yards receiving, but those 2 touchdowns, my goodness, 19.3 fantasy points. My bad, BroMob.
Beep, beep, beep. This just in. Touchdowns can't count in fantasy
They do
football.
count.
Beep, beep. All right, BroMob. So I had a couple not so good picks, so I'm going to apologize in advance for the Aaron Rodgers recommendation, quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. If you don't know who he is a guy that wears a mustache on his face and throws the ball to other wide receivers. 11.4 fantasy points. It's not terrible. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. Aaron Rodgers, we expected more.
Yes.
But the Packers, they just Aaron Jones just controlled everything. He's like, everything in the offense ran through the other Aaron. So they picked the wrong Aaron this week, which they picked the right Aaron because he was on my fantasy team. I also said start Sony Michel, Chad. This was the biggest mind blow of the week for me. So you have a defense that you're playing. You're at home, okay? So you're at home in your stadium, at home. You're playing a team that has averaged 5.1 yards per carry on the season, okay, in the Kansas City Chiefs. What do? Let's just throw it all the time. Like Sony Michel doesn't even exist anymore. I don't understand this team. I don't understand Sony Michel. Why is he being doghoused? I thought this was a game that they would want to pound the living daylights out of the Kansas City Chiefs and keep the ball out of Pat Mahomes' hands. Not the case. They lost the game. Sony Michel, 1.4 fantasy points on the day. Sorry, BroMob. I don't know what to tell you. Stream Jack Doyle, tight end of the Indianapolis Colts. This was a letdown for me. He had the targets, Chad. He had 6 targets on the day. Just didn't get the end zone. 3.7 fantasy points. Not what I'm looking for. And then my other stream recommendation on the defensive side was the Jets defense against the Miami Dolphins at home. Not what I expected. 3 points on the day. So Miami's played well these last few weeks. I mean, Miami won this, or the Jets won this game, but the Miami Dolphins offense has played a little bit better. I mean, they're not playing lights out or anything. Why are you making this face right now?
7 field goals.
Well,
Jason Sanders.
Yeah, that's true.
I immediately take it back. All right, BroMob, that is our genius and dumb picks. Let's get into our waiver wire ads. All right, Brian, take us off with your favorite player in the world.
That's right. Yeah. All right, so we're going to do waivers a little different this week. Because it's the fantasy playoffs and there's not as many guys available in the league, Chad and I are going to roll out 3 guys that we each think you, BroMob, should be targeting right now. I mean, not literally at this maybe right now, right? Maybe you go out and you claim them right now, but you want to get them for this week. So now, anyway, my first pick here, Chad, is, I've been ranting and raving about this guy for weeks. I don't know what else I have to do to get his ownership up. He was at 24.9% owned in ESPN leagues last week, Chad. I ranted and raved about him. It went to 30.7. Okay. Zach Pascal, the wide receiver of the Indianapolis Colts. Okay. Let me spell his name for you. Go type it into the app. PASC as in cat. L as in Larry. Okay. Pascal.
Why
Like
those
little
two letters?
rascal.
Nobody knows.
Like the quarterback is throwing a pass to the seagull. No, not gull. Gul. Like a rascal. He's throwing a pass to a rascal. Okay. Zach Pascal, 30.7% owned. Here, he look, guys, T.Y. Hilton's done. He's out. Okay. And likely for the entire season. Get this guy on your team. They played New Orleans this week and Carolina the week after. Very favorable match. New Orleans is 9th against the pass. Carolina's 13th. These are great matchups. He had 14.4% or 14.4 fantasy points last week. He had 17.9 fantasy points this week. What else do I need to tell you? Go get this guy on your team and get him in your lineup, especially if you're a Mike Evans owner and you just lost Evans. I mean, boom, here you go. Another guy, all right? Laird of the Rings. Patrick Laird. Laird of the Totes. That's his nickname. Patrick Laird, running back of the Miami Dolphins, only 10.8% owned in fantasy leagues, Chad. Has a very favorable championship game matchup. I don't really like his matchup coming this week against the Giants, but I see, well, maybe not so bad. I don't like it. Stick by my word. But has a favorable championship game matchup against the Bengals. So Patrick Laird, definitely somebody you can go get. He's getting the bulk of the carries. There's really no one else there to take carries from him. So he's the guy. And then the last guy that I'm going to mention here, there were so many, Chad. I see a guy you put here, and I was really close to going that route. But I'm going to go this route. D.D. Westbrook. Last week we said, look, I like that he's getting the looks, he's getting the catches, but he just wasn't getting the touchdown, and he finally gets in the end zone. This week, I said he's got a tough matchup. You don't want to. This is not the week to get him in your. You don't want to chase the points this week. He had like 2.7 fantasy points or something like that, 2.6 I think it was. So not a great game. He had a really tough matchup. But next week at Oakland Raiders, and then in the championship game at the Atlanta Falcons. Huge opportunity with a giant Y at the beginning of huge. Okay. Oakland Raiders, Atlanta Falcons, D.D. Westbrook, Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver. Go get him.
Yeah, I love D.D. Westbrook. He was one of my 3 guys, so I love him. The next guy I got here, though, Brian, I think might be my favorite guy. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I had him a couple times in a couple different leagues earlier in the season when he was getting the chance to run the ball. But now it looks like he's becoming the guy over another running back. But then again, this is a Kyle Shanahan offense. Things can change. Raheem Mostert, only owned in 23.7% of fantasy leagues. He has 3 rushing touchdowns in the last 3 games, 35 carries in that same time span, and he's averaging 7.4 yards per carry during those 3 games. Oh, and guess what? He's getting used in the passing game. So he's getting points for catches. He's getting points for touchdowns. He's getting points for being a beast. This guy, I mean, if you watch him, he is so fast. He's a hard-hitting running back, too, because he's a bigger dude. I like everything that there is about Raheem Mostert. He's fitting into this offense very well. There's a reason they kept him, Brian. He had offers from other teams in the free agency. They decided to match those offers, keep him on the team, even though they had signed Tevin Coleman, even though Jerick McKinnon was coming back from injury, and even though they still had Matt Breida on the team. They still wanted this guy on their team. There's a reason, because he's really good. I like him. BroMob, go get him. He could be something great for you. Also, at the same time, here's a player that he might not play for the remainder of the season, or he might. But it's definitely worth gambling on it and keeping him on your bench for just a one spot on your bench. AJ Green, we've talked about him before. He's only owned in 66.5% of leagues right now, which is ridiculous. He should be owned in more leagues. But AJ Green, if he comes back and he's got Andy Dalton there, Tyler Boyd's still the wide receiver 2. They throw out there John Ross out there in the mix as well, who's back this past week as well. This offense starts to look better. It starts to look a little bit more electric. AJ Green could become that guy that just goes off at the end of the season because he is a star athlete. Or the team might not play him. So you're taking a gamble here, but it's one of those calculated gambles, BroMob, and it's worth it. And then finally I said, D.D. Westbrook was my pick. Brian, you stole him. It's okay. And I've mentioned this guy before. He just had a really bad game. He's actually had two bad games in a row. But Baker Mayfield, this is a guy, he needs to win games. The team needs to win games because they need to make the playoffs in order for people like Freddie Kitchens or anybody to even fathom staying on the team. So Baker Mayfield needs to play well. I think he will. I'm betting on the side of Baker Mayfield, which some might not like because he hasn't been good. But I'm staying on the side of him, and I think he's going to definitely pull together some good outings, especially in the fantasy, these last 2 weeks in the fantasy playoffs. Go get him. He's only owned in 61.9% of leagues.
Yeah, it's not a bad pick, Chad. Draws the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona this week, so it's a defense that can't do anything against the pass. He should have a good game there. My only concern is that game against Baltimore at home, week 16 in the championship game. I get that he had 342 yards and a touchdown against them, 17.8 fantasy points in that game. But I think he can still do well. They're at home. They're going to be really fighting for bragging rights in the division. I don't think the Cleveland Browns are going to make the playoffs. Are they out of contention? Do you know?
No.
Yes, I mean they're fighting for the playoffs then. So Baker should do well, even against the really tough Baltimore defense. I mean, he played well earlier in the season. Why not at home against them?
That's my thoughts. And then finally, BroMob, we just got some other names to mention here off the waiver wires. We got David Njoku with the Cleveland Browns. Same schedule, Arizona Cardinals. Wowie, that's going to be a good game for him. Another tight end, Ryan Griffin from the New York Jets, who's just getting targeted like crazy from Sam Darnold. Russell Gage, who has multiple targets in multiple games for the last 5 weeks in a row. Though he's not stringing together great outings, he has opportunity. Bo Scarborough, speaking of opportunity, is getting anywhere from 15 to 20 touches in every game that he's came in these last 4 weeks here, and so he's getting every opportunity it is to succeed at the running back position. Deebo Samuel and Devontae Parker in this list where both are very viable options at the position, even though they didn't have the greatest week this past week. We saw the offense for San Francisco. It can absolutely erupt. Deebo is an electric player who can do great. And Devontae Parker's having himself a career season this year. And though he had a bad week this week, you cannot close your eyes to what he has done so far this season. So there's some names for the waiver wires, BroMob. Go get them while you can. That's going to end it for today's show. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday and Wednesday to stay up to date on the fantasy football world and to gather any insights on how to dominate your fantasy football leagues.
Absolutely, BroMob. And look, I know we talk about this every week, but we appreciate your support and all of you that are already official BroMob members over at jointhebromob.com. Thank you so much. If you want to be an official BroMobster, head over to jointhebromob.com. It's where you can support the podcast for literally just $2 currency US.
Yes.
Thebromob.com, become an official BroMobster. www.jointhebromob.com.
If you're not on Apple Podcasts, maybe you're listening on YouTube. We're also on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and pretty much every platform out there. Go check us out. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FF Podcast, and be sure to check out the website, thefantasyfootballbros.com, for all kinds of articles, rankings, and so much more. See you tomorrow, BroMob.
Later, BroMob.